Well, you're very welcome along to the Friday Football Betting Show with BoyleSports, streamed each week live across YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. Please gamble responsibly, folks. This show's for over 18s. Never bet more than you can afford to lose. Now, today I'm joined by the presenter of Premier League Live, Phil Egan, and by Leon Blanche of BoyleSports. Lads, how are we doing?
Good, yeah, all good.
Leon, are you in New York?
I am indeed, John. Over here to see a couple of college buddies. We're going to the Giants against the New Orleans Saints on Sunday, so looking forward to it. Should be a good game.
You look
Both
bright
teams
and breezy,
won
Leon. You look very fresh out there.
I am, yeah. Listen, we only got in yesterday, so it's not too bad.
You probably haven't got to bed yet, have you?
No, I have indeed. No, we took an early night last night, John. But certainly over this weekend, we'll no doubt have a couple of late ones.
And I think the great thing about New York, Leon, is that you can watch, I think, all of the Premier League games. I remember going over there a few years ago and they had every single match on every single screen when in the bar I was in, and early in the morning get a fry up. It's a good bit of fun. Yeah,
look, we were in a bar last night that had 42 plasma screens. 42. Unbelievable. So I think we'll go there and watch Liverpool, Chelsea, 12:30 Saturday.
That's a lovely time to
You watched the All-Ireland hurling final, didn't you, Phil?
Yeah, it was in New York. Yeah, it was a 10:30 start. That's the beauty of being in New York, Leon, as well. You'll have been able to watch 3 or 4 games of football and you still have your whole day ahead of you. Because and that, you know, I think there's a I don't think it's any relation of Jamie Carragher, but there's a bar in New York called Carragher's that do all the Premier League football, so that could be worth checking out.
Oh, Leon, I'm very jealous. I'd love to be there right now. But enjoy yourself at the weekend, and we'll be previewing all of this weekend's football action and examining the betting markets over the next half hour. We've got €350 bets to give away across our social media channels this week, so Twitter, Facebook and YouTube. Be sure to get in touch with your comments over this weekend's football action. What are your opinions of Paul Pogba, Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea? Who's going to win tomorrow after the great game during the week? And the best comments will be in with the chance of winning with thanks to BoyleSports. Terms and conditions apply. But first, let's find out the BoyleSports offers of the week. So we have Liverpool to beat Chelsea. It was 7-5. It's now 15-8. A max stake of €10 on that until kick-off. And Harry Kane to score first against Huddersfield was 9-4 and now 3-1. A max stake of €10 on that until kick-off. So Leon, a bit generous in Harry Kane there. You expecting him maybe to come good?
Yeah, look, I think Harry Kane, he is coming good. He scored a good penalty, obviously, against Brighton. He hasn't probably hit the heights yet, John, as he did last season. You'd know all too well about it, being a Tottenham Hotspur fan. But he's still a goal scorer. And anytime you're getting Harry Kane at 3-1 to score first from 9-4, it's a decent enhancement. And they're away against Huddersfield. And with all due respect to Huddersfield, I think they're going to get relegated this season. And if Tottenham want to finish in the top 4 again, they need to be beating teams. They're a very short price away from home, 4-9. I think they should oblige. There has been a bit of money from BoyleSports customers for Spurs and also putting them into their accumulators. And I must say, John, if you have 5 accumulators with ourselves, you get the 6th accumulator for free. Okay. And I think Tottenham Hotspur this weekend, they'll be put into those accumulators. Most football fans will be looking at them. Even though they're away from home, I think they'll be a banker. And I think Harry Kane has a great chance, obviously, of scoring first because he takes penalties, he takes free kicks, and he always plays.
And a max euro stake of €10 on that until kickoff. I wasn't here last week, folks, so that's why we didn't have any winners, I'm sure. So what did we have last week? You can put it up on the screen there. I think Ger's accumulator, Fulham to win, Man United to win. Wolves held them, so that didn't work out. Who else did we have? We had Phil. I think you down for Chelsea and West Ham. No draw.
No. I basically, what happened at the London Stadium.
Oh, explanations are coming.
I actually went for the complete opposite. So I said both teams will score and there'll be a winner. So I finished.
So we're going to do the opposite of what you say this week.
Exactly.
Is that what we should do?
Listen to me.
Now, Phil, you know your football. Kevin went for wins for Fulham and Crystal Palace, and both teams drew. And Leon wasn't the best. It wasn't the worst prediction. Arsenal to win, and Aubameyang did score second, but he didn't score first. And there was only 2 goals, not over 2.5. So that was the bet builder, Leon. But just for people who are new to the bet builder, maybe explain how it works for us.
Yeah, look, John, excuse me, if you pick any game during the Premier League and you can pick a couple of different outcomes, maybe who'll score first. I went for Aubameyang last week. How many goals there'll be in the game. You can pick a match result. and maybe go with both teams to score. It's up to yourself. Pick 3 or 4 different outcomes, put them all together, build up your bet and build up your price. That's the whole point of the bet builder. Bet small and the returns could be quite big.
Now, hopefully we'll have more better luck this week.
The Friday Football Betting Show.
Thanks to the BoyleSports Bet Builder. Combine multiple selections into one single bet at one great price. Try it today at offtheball.com/BoyleSports.
Now, do you want to win €50 free bet with terms and conditions applying with thanks to BoyleSports? Get your comments in. Paul Pogba, Manchester United, Chelsea, Liverpool, your predictions for the weekend's games. Get them in on social media, on Twitter, at Off The Ball, on Facebook and on YouTube. The big one I think we have to speak about, Leon and Phil, first is Manchester United against West Ham. The early game tomorrow, 12:30. Do you think, Phil, this Paul Pogba, Jose Mourinho fissure, which I think is probably permanent now, is going to affect Manchester United's performance tomorrow?
I suppose that the only way it can affect them really is the team selection. Does he leave Pogba out? He did it last season. He brought in Scott McTominay in the European games. So if it will be interesting to see that team selection. Obviously, they're a better team with Paul Pogba in it. Honestly, though, Paul Pogba, since he's arrived at United, forget about the price tag, because that's not his fault. He's just been so inconsistent and people talk about how good he was at the World Cup. International football and Premier League football are completely different. Premier League football is played at a much faster pace, and I find with Paul Pogba, he played well at Juventus, he played well with the French team, he seems to play well in winning teams, but United obviously are not a winning team. Okay, they finished second last season, but that second's not good enough for Manchester United. Some of these players have to roll up their sleeves, and to me it seems like Paul Pogba's not going to do it because he's given out about the manager's tactics. Why not just keep quiet and start stringing a few good performances together? All he's done this season is taken a few decent penalties. We see a few nice touches. It all looks good on YouTube when the compilations come in, but he's not even in the conversation when we talk about the best midfielders in the Premier League at the moment.
Now, West Ham have suddenly found form, belatedly. They beat Everton. They thumped, I think it was at Macclesfield during the week.
8-0.
Yeah, and Arnautovic is probably back tomorrow. So at home, would you give him a shot? They're over 3-1 with BoyleSports.
I think if Arnautovic plays, West Ham have a great chance. They've got this front three now of Yarmolenko and Felipe Anderson with Arnautovic. And Arnautovic, obviously himself and Mourinho have previous as well from Inter, where Mourinho referred to him as trying to manage a child, and it wasn't in a complimentary way. So Arnautovic, when he's got something to prove, we saw when he played for West Ham at Stoke last season, when he scored, he gave Mark Hughes the two fingers effectively. So if Arnautovic plays and he's up for it, United have a game in their hands.
€50 to MVP Paul, most valuable player, obviously. He's our first winner. Right, lads, here's a bet for the Premier League this weekend. Wolves and Spurs to win. Everton, Fulham, both teams to score. And Arsenal versus Watford over 2.5 goals. So well done, MVP Paul. You've won your €50 bet with thanks to BoyleSports. Terms and conditions apply. Leon Blanche, when you're looking at the odds of this, if you're an odds compiler, you're seeing West Ham over 3-1. And with Manchester United's struggles, have you seen in the past, Leon, that the odds compilers maybe get it wrong? Because there's obviously problems at Manchester United, and West Ham have come into a bit of a resurgence. So are West Ham as a market price here value tomorrow?
Well, I think the market has spoken, John, and BoyleSports customers have told us that when we first priced up this game, West Ham were 4-1, and we got that wrong. They're now 100-30. Manchester United were 4-6, and they're now 5-6. So the money has been coming for West Ham, and you're right. All the problems with United, two hugely improved performances. Firstly, getting a win away against Everton, then a decent point at home when Yarmolenko obviously had that chance to get all 3 points against Chelsea. So West Ham, they had 9 signings in the summer. That takes a bit of time. But the market is telling us that punters want to be with West Ham against Manchester United. And this is a tricky game for Jose. They've got to travel to London. It's an early kickoff. They'll obviously be spending the night in London on the Friday night in a team hotel. What's the morale like, John? What is Pogba like? Is he going to be that bad apple who infects some of the other players? It's a very, very tricky situation for Mourinho. He stuck with him until at least Christmas. But you'd have to say West Ham at home, even at 130, they look a decent price.
And Arnautovic, first goal scorer, 7-1. Anytime 9-4. Lukaku, first goal scorer, 7-2. Anytime 11-10. Any kind of angles or hooks or predictions that you can give us, Phil, about this one?
Lukaku has a great record against West Ham.
Right.
He scored so many goals.
Does that matter though? Do players in their heads think, I'm playing West Ham today? Or is it just coincidence?
Well, it's also the thing that's thrown at Lukaku a lot is he doesn't do it in big games, and this wouldn't be seen as a big game because it's not one of the top 6. Okay, he scored against Chelsea at Old Trafford last season, but he doesn't tend to score against their big rivals in the big games. But West Ham is certainly a game that you can see Lukaku scoring, and said he had a great record when he played for Everton, scored a lot of goals against West Ham.
What's your verdict?
I think a draw. I think Declan Rice, his introduction back into the team and Wilshere's injury has actually worked out very well for West Ham because they turned up to Anfield in the opening weekend with Wilshere and Noble in midfield with Declan Rice. Declan Rice got whipped off at half-time because the other two obviously aren't as mobile, and probably their reputations kept them in the team for the second half. But Declan Rice has come in now and he's just given them a bit of a
start to see him in green again?
I think that ship has sailed, but I hope I'm proven wrong.
Leon Blanche, how are you seeing this one, West Ham Man United tomorrow, if you're going to put your New York neck on the block?
I give West Ham a big chance, John. I mean, there's just obviously so many problems at Old Trafford. And if you have your manager and your supposed captain, vice-captain, whatever, falling out publicly, big issues there. I think West Ham have got a big chance. I was very impressed with their organisation against Chelsea. Yes, Hazard got into a couple of scoring positions when he probably should have went himself instead of trying to tee up Morata and Giroud. But I think West Ham, they're going to come together. I'm not saying they're going to be world beaters, but I think they'll give United one hell of a game.
Leon, you're a Liverpool fan. You must be the reason you went to New York, Leon, because you couldn't cope with a defeat this season after such a perfect start in the Carabao Cup, even though the goal from Eden Hazard was brilliant. But in all seriousness, you must be really looking forward to tomorrow's game. Maybe people were expecting City and Liverpool, I know they're playing next weekend, to be at the top. But Chelsea have come into the conversation and they will leapfrog Liverpool if they win tomorrow. And the markets, how are we looking at the markets tomorrow for this one?
Yeah, look, it's a big game, John. I think obviously Klopp made 8 changes from the first 11 that had won the last league game. A totally different back four, new keeper. So all those guys will come back. And even though Hazard was a wonderful strike, I thought Moreno's defending was diabolical. It was absolutely, he just is not a left full in my opinion. But Chelsea, they're the underdogs at home. They're 9-5. And as you called out earlier, we're going top industry price Liverpool at 15-8. I think it's going to be a very intriguing game of football. Hazard is a wonderful player. There's no doubt about that. But I think when you look at Liverpool, that back four and the keeper coming back, so the back five, that'll make a huge difference, I think, for Liverpool. It's a tricky place to go, Stamford Bridge. They don't have the best record there over the years. And if you're looking at it, probably this safe bet would be a draw at 23-10. But Liverpool are favourites. Liverpool fans are backing Liverpool to win this game. And it's going to be intriguing, John, to see who exactly takes control of this game, as in who gets their foot on the ball first. Chelsea at home, they normally have the lion's share of possession. But the way Liverpool are playing, Salah, Mane and Firmino, they don't give you much time. They're on you straight away, as are the 3 lads in midfield. It'll be interesting to see which 3 does Klopp pick. I would suggest he'll go with Wijnaldum, he'll probably go with Jordan Henderson, and he might even start James Milner. He took Milner off after the hour. So it's going to be a very intriguing match. I wouldn't fancy backing Liverpool away from home at Chelsea. I'm going to sit on the fence. I think a draw is the way I'd play it.
58th meeting since the new millennium for Chelsea and Liverpool, and no other clubs have played more games in the English Football League. So Phil Egan, when I'm looking at Eden Hazard, I'm just thinking, wow, this is a
Rolls Royce.
This is a Rolls Royce player. If you want to win a €50 free bet, by the way, with thanks to BoyleSports, with terms and conditions to apply, give us in your comments on Pogba, Manchester United. How do you see Chelsea and Liverpool going tomorrow? We already had one winner, MVB Paul. He's already won the first one. And our second winner, he's in. Ronnie Feels on Facebook. Oh my God. As with any home City game, you have to go City -2. The Leon result seems to have kick-started Manchester City. -2 is very tasty at 4-3. 4-3 on. So Ronnie Feels, you've won €50 free bet with thanks to BoyleSports. Terms and conditions apply. Phil Egan, Rolls-Royce player Eden Hazard. Mauricio Sarri, are you surprised how quickly he's got Chelsea to gel?
No, I don't know if he has got them to gel. I think obviously you can see definite changes, but their fixtures have been quite kind to them. Their big result was the win over Arsenal, but Arsenal had enough chances to win that game, and that's why I actually fancy Liverpool tomorrow. I think the game during the week maybe was just a bit of a reminder to Liverpool fans what it was like 2 years ago under Jurgen Klopp, when you had Mignolet playing, you had Lovren, Matip. Well, Matip was only there last season. You had Moreno playing, and you had Nathaniel Klein. Now you look at the back four that he's going to pick tomorrow. There's a slight doubt over the fitness of Virgil van Dijk. He obviously came off last week against Southampton. Liverpool fans straight away reach for the rosary beads and think we need him back. Jurgen Klopp said he didn't train, so he's the kind of player you can just bring back in. But if he doesn't start, that is a game changer.
Is it a type of match that could turn Liverpool's season for the worse and Chelsea's for the better, or is it just too early in the season for this to be happening? It's not as pivotal a game as people maybe might be making out that it is.
No, I think the worry for Liverpool is if they were to lose, the fact that
twice in a week.
Yeah, and Manchester City go to Anfield the following week, then it becomes an issue, and they've a trip to Napoli as well in the Champions League. Yes. So, all of a sudden,
momentum.
Yeah,
and questions and debate.
Absolutely, and then
you given out to Shaqiri, and I read somewhere that there was some tension between, was it Mane and Salah? Is that?
I think people are just saying like maybe sometimes they're a bit too selfish,
right?
And you've seen they've got themselves into opportunities and they're picking the wrong option. Actually, a lot of the time they're not selfish, but they're just picking the wrong option. But I think people are looking, when you're winning, people are looking for an excuse to see how can you stop winning. Obviously, the other night, Liverpool lose. And as I said, I just think we saw that they were able to put out a decent team with 8 changes. But if Andy Robertson's playing left back, he doesn't let Eden Hazard get in for that goal. Fabinho is a player certainly that I expect big things of, but he still looked like he didn't really know how to fit into the Liverpool system. That's why Klopp hasn't played him. I agree with Leon. I think when Wijnaldum comes back in, I think Milner has to start. And then it's either Keita or Henderson. He'll probably go with Henderson, but I wasn't overly impressed with Henderson when he came on at Anfield the other night. Wouldn't be the biggest Jordan Henderson fan. I think if he's playing in a team with good players, obviously he raises his game. But I'm not a big Jordan Henderson fan. I just think the front three of Liverpool, what they got to do is put that back four under pressure. Jorginho is the pass master. West Ham, what they did, they said to Jorginho, you have the ball, but we're going to cut out all the options for you to pass to. So will Liverpool do the same, or will they go straight after Jorginho? I can remember a couple of seasons ago, Liverpool went to Old Trafford and Michael Carrick, a player who wants the ball to set up attacks, Lallana stuck on him for the first half. Carrick never came back out for the second half. So that front three for Liverpool is obviously going to be the key tomorrow.
Okay, Eden Hazard has scored, I think, 6 goals in 7 appearances for Chelsea this season, and he's 13-8 to be an any-time goal scorer, 6-1 to be first-time goal scorer. Mo Salah anytime 11-10, and first goal scorer 4-1. Leon, you've gone for the draw on this. Arsenal, Watford, Leon. That, the way Watford have played this season so far, do you see this as a little bit more of an even contest than it normally would be?
Well, again, John, excuse me, the market has kind of spoken, and I think people were looking at 13-2 for Watford. 6.5 to 1 was too big of a price, and subsequently BoyleSports customers have backed Watford into 11-2, and Arsenal now have drifted from 4-11 to 4-9. But as Phil said, when Arsenal played Chelsea, they had enough chances to win that game, and if they had won that game, John, bar the defeat against Man City on the opening day of the season, it would have been 5 wins in a row. Now they've got 4 wins in the Premier League, they've won in the Europa League, so they're on a bit of a run, Arsenal. At the moment, still trying to figure out why he keeps persisting asking Petr Cech to play out from the back when it's clear that he just cannot do it. And I think at home, you think Arsenal should have enough. The draw is 7-2, but I think Arsenal should be able to beat Watford. And if they've any aspirations, again, like Tottenham Hotspur, if you want to stay around the top 4, these are games that you must be winning. Because if you don't, it just gives your rival that opportunity. If you slip up even with a draw at home, and the likes of United and Spurs, if they were to win, or Liverpool was to win, or City, whatever it is, you've got to be beating Watford at home. And I think Aubameyang and Lacazette, the one thing both of them have in their locker is goals. And Arsenal games have produced goals. I thought it would have produced more than 2 last week. I went for over 2.5. I think both teams might score here. I think Watford create enough chances to score at the Emirates, but I'm still sticking with Arsenal. I think they're good enough to beat Watford.
Okay, Leon, and Arsenal have not lost a 3 o'clock Saturday game in the Premier League in 5 years. They were beaten 3-1 by Aston Villa on the opening day of a season a few years ago. That's not bad. Are we going to be seeing Aubameyang and Lacazette interviewed again after an Arsenal win this week, Phil?
Yeah.
Have you enjoyed the Emery introduction to Premier League football? I still find it very strange not seeing Arsene Wenger playing with the zip of his Mac on the touchline.
I think what's encouraging for Arsenal is, although they lost to Manchester City and Chelsea, you can see that Emery has worked on frailties from those games, and that was the criticism of Arsene Wenger when things were going wrong.
We'll just go and play football.
Yeah, he wasn't making changes, and that's very frustrating. If you make a mistake, you can accept mistakes happen, but if the same thing keeps happening, if it's Groundhog Day, then it's very frustrating. But I think Lucas Torreira coming in now, he's finally going to get his chance. He started last week, and it was just a case of him coming in and getting settled into Premier League football. But he certainly looks like he's going to be a great addition. Petr Cech, I mean, there's got to be times you can play a bit of football at the back. There's going to be times you just have to give it the old-fashioned leather down the pitch. But he's obviously been instructed, try and keep it on the deck. But I think what you notice about Arsenal, when they're actually ahead, Cech won't take those risks. It seems to be 0-0, game still in the mix. He'll try and play it out from the back. But I'm starting to wonder, Watford had that great start. This would be a good test to see, are they going to just kind of fade away and become that mid-table team that we all expected?
And sack their manager.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people at the start of the season actually had to even probably look up who was the Watford manager, because you almost forget that Gracia came in at the end of last season, wasn't very, there was nothing spectacular about it. It was fairly steady. And I was almost surprised that he was back for the start of the season. But he's made a pretty good fist of it so far. Settled team. Troy Deeney's going to take pain-killing injections because he's got a few broken toes.
Oh.
So he'll be hoping he goes around breaking a few of the Arsenal players' toes, because, we know what he thinks about Arsenal. He thinks they lack cojones.
Okay.
That goes back to the game at 50.
Never say that about you, Phil Egan. No. Or you, Leon Blanche. Leon Blanche, I'm looking down through the fixtures here this weekend. Fulham, Everton odds on. Fulham 7-2. Don't think they've won since August, Fulham. Huddersfield, Spurs, we've kind of touched upon. Huddersfield going down, straight down. Manchester City, Brighton, well, we know that's going to be a turkey shoot, although Brighton, to be fair, did play well at Liverpool. Newcastle, Leicester. Newcastle 6-4. Leicester away 15-8. Wolves, Southampton. Wolves have had a really good... I think they've had... one of the highest amount of shots on goal by a team this season, Wolves, playing Southampton at home. And then we have got Sunday, Cardiff, Burnley and Bournemouth Palace on Monday. Leon, when you're looking at all these kind of shoulder games, as I would call them, is there anything for a shrewd, sage punter like yourself that's catching the eye that might give us a bit of an edge? Even though you're the bookie, I know we're trying to beat you, but maybe just give it a bit of
look, John, I've gone for an accumulator this week. I've put in City, Spurs, Everton and Arsenal. So the 4 of those you would expect should get over the line. So the one I looked at to try and improve my price was Leicester away from home against Newcastle. Now, I know Newcastle have had some tough fixtures. They've lost to some big sides already in the season. But as it stands, out of a possible 18 points, they've only got 2. And this is a big, big game for Newcastle at home against Leicester. And I just feel Newcastle coming out, Leicester are brilliant at counter-attack football. And I think the pressure will be on Rafa Benitez to go and try and score goals against Leicester. And I think that's going to play right into Leicester's hands. I still think they're capable, Leicester, of beating Newcastle away from home. So my 5-team accumulator, Leicester, Arsenal, Everton, Spurs and City, is 10-1. Leicester have won their last 2 games 3-1. Okay, the opposition hasn't been... that difficult. They beat Huddersfield last week at home.
See it on the screen there, folks, Leon's accumulator. Go ahead, Leon. Keep going.
I still fancy Leicester, John. I just think Newcastle, I'm a little bit worried for Newcastle fans and how much time do we give Benitez? How much do we feel sorry for him? I know we keep saying this on the Friday show, but he needs to start getting results. And unfortunately, 2 draws from 6 is not great. They're in the relegation zone. If they were to lose this one, they'd be in big, big trouble. And I fancy Leicester to beat Newcastle.
Okay, we'll recap on that accumulator very shortly. But just before we come to our own bets here in the studio, God help you, we want to give our last €50 free bet of the week with thanks to BoyleSports. Terms and conditions applying. To David Grant on Facebook, who doesn't lack cojones either. Lukaku to score over 3.5 goals and a West Ham win. Okay, David, so fair play for your predictions. So David Grant, Ronnie Feels and MVP Paul, the most valuable player in the BoyleSports betting jungle this week is MVP Paul. Congratulations, we'll be in touch about your prizes. Phil Egan, of all these shoulder games, is there anything that's standing out to you?
Cardiff Burnley. Just...
we know what you're doing with your Sunday afternoon then.
Well, I'm just intrigued. Like, it's set up to be woeful, but it could surprise you. You know, the Ryder Cup will be on at the same time. People will be...
By the way, the Americans are 3-1 up after the first session.
Yeah, not good.
Not good.
No.
So the Ryder Cup will be over, so you might as well watch Cardiff Burnley.
Well, that's it. I just want to see... Like, I'm a bit disappointed with Neil Warnock and Cardiff. I know, I thought they'd go down, but just some of the things that he said, that he's resigned to the fact that they're not going to win many games and he'll probably get sacked soon enough. But I just thought, like, you know, maybe put up a bit more of a fight. But I just think... They're the kind of games where you wouldn't bother watching, but then they could actually turn out to be a classic.
It's like Liverpool Alaves. Phil, I went to bed and
two counter-attacking teams.
It was 5-4. I went to bed and it was 5-4. I'll never get over it. Really, actually, I will. But yeah. So let's get to this week's bets on the Friday football betting show. Thanks to BoyleSports. Kevin Kilban, of course, BoyleSports brand ambassador, and really the doyen and the guru and the legend of the off the ball environment, the studio. Well, he's got a treble. Tottenham to win away to Huddersfield 9-4 on. Wolves to defeat Southampton at 5-4 on, and Liverpool to win at 7-5. Agreeing with Phil Egan there, 6-1. Leon, do you like that?
Yeah, well, look, I hope Kevin's right. I hope Liverpool can beat Chelsea, but I think it's going to be tricky. Wolves are playing good football, as both of you guys know, but Danny Ings coming back into the Southampton team, he's had a good start to his loan spell for Mark Hughes' side, but Wolves at home, they probably should have beat Burnley by 4 or 5. They really created an awful lot of chances. And they've done well at home, drawing with City, drawing with Everton. Yeah, you'd fancy Wolves to just get past Southampton. I was a bit disappointed with Southampton against Liverpool last week. They didn't offer an awful lot.
There was a guy called Bob Dole who once ran for the US presidency, and he referred to himself in the third person. So John Duggan this week is going for West Ham to beat Manchester United tomorrow lunchtime. This has to have had an impact, this Pogba and Mourinho disaster, this agent spat, this Barcelona, Mourinho, were you happy that we won? All this kind of soap opera drama, which you don't see Liverpool and Manchester City, and maybe there's a reason for that. But what I'm going to do, folks, this week is I'm going to tip West Ham to beat Manchester United at 17-5. And Philip Egan, you were speaking about Burnley because you cannot wait. You're salivating here. You know, you've had to be mopping up the drool from your face after thinking about Cardiff Burnley on Sunday. And also you've got Everton and Fulham, both teams to score in a double 4-1.
Yeah, the reason, like Everton and Fulham concede goals, they create plenty of chances. So I think you're going to see goals in that game. And then Burnley to win, I think that 4-0 win against Bournemouth, which caught a lot of us off the hop, or on the hop rather. We didn't see that coming, but I think that'll galvanise them. They should win, but that's real football. Cardiff and Burnley. None of this ticky-tacky stuff. Just put it in the mixer.
None of this Barcelona.
Long throws, everything. Joe Hart taking free kicks on the halfway, punting them into the box, get it up to Sam Vokes. Hopefully it's raining as well.
Put him under pressure, Phil.
Exactly.
Put him under pressure.
Phil, you're uniquely brilliant. And Leon, just a recap on your bet again. Manchester City to win, Spurs to win, Everton to win, Arsenal to win, and Leicester probably the edge bet as well to win at a tasty price of 10-1. Leon Blanche, I hope you've had a brilliant time in New York. Enjoy yourself in the Big Apple.
I will indeed, John. Just before I go as well, we are matching up to €100 offtheball.com/BoyleSports. So a free bet matched up to £100 if you're thinking about playing in the football this weekend. And come on the Giants, John. I hope I get to see plenty of TDs on Sunday.
No, have a great time, Leon. American football. I'd love to go to American football game. Maybe one day I will, Phil and Leon.
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl, yeah. You have to go to the big time. But thanks, Leon, for joining us from New York this morning. Pretty prestigious place to be. And that's it for the Friday Football Betting Show. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Enjoy Sunday. Thanks to Phil, to Leon, and for you for listening. And join us again at 12:30 next week for the Friday Football Betting Show. Looking ahead to Liverpool against Manchester City, one of the biggest games in the world this year. That's not hyperbole. This has been the Football Betting Show on a Friday. Thanks to BoyleSports. We'll join you next week as well.
The Friday Football Betting Show.
Thanks to the BoyleSports Bet Builder. Combine multiple selections into one single bet at one great price. Try it today at offtheball.com/BoyleSports.